Peace, people. What's good with it, huh? Back again, huh? Been a couple of weeks since the last time I talked to y'all. A lot of shit to talk about. Let's get into it. Let's start off with Dallas Cowboys versus the Eagles. Okay, let's start that shit off, right? Very interesting game. Shocking. I would have lost that bet. Had I bet on that game, I would have bet Philadelphia was gonna win, right? That's not what happened. Surprisingly, Dallas pulled off a victory. I'm not gonna go too far and say that this is a turning point because Dallas has a hell of a game next week against Buffalo. All right, and they have some very tough schedule. Their schedule gets a little bit tough within the next 2 weeks, but Buffalo is going to be a very interesting matchup, all around the board. The way Josh Allen has been playing, him having an up and down type of season, and then the way that they were able to pull the victory off last night, amazing as well. So as we look at the Eagles and the Cowboys, right, which is a very big threat to the 49ers. And right now, the road to the Super Bowl is going on the NFC side to the 49ers, right? Anything can change. I think we still got 4 more games. Anything can change, but we want that number 1 spot, all right? We want that number 1 spot, point blank, period. And the 49ers, the only tough game I believe that we have is in 2 weeks, and that's Christmas Day against the Ravens, right? That's going to be interesting, right? But let's stick to the plan. Next week we play the Cardinals. I think that could be a trap game. We have to win that game. We have to win that game. Let's talk about last week real quick before I jump into this game, Seattle. Last week had an amazing time. I watched 49ers versus Eagles at my partner house, man, my OG house. And we had an amazing time. You probably seen him comment. If you ever pay attention to my comments, Cohan Killer, shout out to Cohan Killer or whatever, was good with it. So as we watched that game, right, I actually made a video, and my video, something happened, it didn't go through, but I did make a video last week. It just did not go through for some odd reason. But let's talk about it. Last week game was so exciting, right? We scored on 5 possessions in a row. Defense looked amazing. The way Ward was guarding A.J. Brown. The whole game plan, to me, I will say that was the first game, and I'm not going to say first game. I don't want to say it like that. That was a game that Kyle Shanahan, offensively, brilliant, okay? And Steve Wilks was on the same page on the defense, on the defensive side. So that was one of the best coach games offensively and defensively that I've seen in a while from the 49ers. So my hats goes off to them. Their execution, their patience, their blocking, the schemes. Last week, and as I was looking at last week's game, going into this week, yesterday's, I did say that the 49ers present a blueprint to beat the Eagles. Because one thing that I noticed in yesterday's game, right, Go back to the 49ers and Eagles game. The 49ers was killing them in the middle of the field. Okay? If you're going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, you have to sit up there and beat them in the middle of the field. And there were some plays last night that Dallas was able to make just over the middle. Now the defensive, you're running up the middle on the Eagles is a very hard task because their defensive tackles are great. Okay, they're great. So if you seen last week, the 49ers was going outside, right? They were able to pin up that edge rusher, and they was running outside. And sometimes they wasn't really going outside. They would, the formation would, their blocking would go outside, and then he would cut up, a little bit, not the middle, but right there on the side of the middle. You know what I'm saying? And I seen Dallas doing the exact same thing. There may have been a blueprint that the 49ers and Dallas have seen, and people may have, teams going forward may attack that from the Eagles, is that middle of the field. There's going to be real interesting. I don't know what's going on with their offense, okay, because their offense, I'm talking about Philadelphia offense did not look sharp, okay? They looked out of out of tune. They looked like they wasn't, you know how they looked? They looked like they wasn't tripping off this game. Okay, I'm gonna just be honest. They just didn't look like the urgency was there. They looked tired at times. They looked gassed. So have the Eagles burnt out? Have the Eagles burnt out? You know what I'm saying? We shall see next week. I don't remember who they play next week, but I do know they have the easiest schedule out of the 49ers and Dallas going, to end the season. I do know that. So with that being said, if you don't know, the 49ers are on that Nelly right now, okay? We got the number one spot, all right? Nelly had that song number one. They got that number one spot right now, all right? We would love for the last 4 weeks that we keep the number one spot because we want that ball to go through San Francisco, all right? That's what we want. We want the NFC, we want that shit to come through San Francisco, all right? The last time it went through San Francisco, you know what I'm saying? We went to that bowl. All right, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, the last time, you know what I'm saying, we went to that bowl. So that's what we're pulling for. Shout outs, we was pulling for Dallas to win. Like I said, I didn't think Dallas was gonna win, but they showed. I'm not gonna say, as you was watching the morning shows, they're saying is Dak MVP. I'm not going to say he's the MVP. My personal MVP would be Tyreek Hill. All right. I believe Tyreek Hill should win the MVP. All right. Point blank, period. I know they're trying to give it to a quarterback. Give it to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek has played amazing. Give it to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek deserved he deserved the MVP. He hit that 2,000 yards. He deserves the MVP. I don't want to hear nothing else. Give it to Tyreek. All right. Let's talk about the Chiefs for a second. Right. I know you see me with the 49er gear, but I got to talk about the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes was wrong, okay? Patrick Mahomes was wrong. It was no reason for him to go after the referee like that, all right? If you were going to go after somebody like that, you go after the person that actually was offsides. His press conference about it didn't even make any sense, okay? I'm going to just keep it 100 with you. It didn't make any sense. It made no sense at all. There's been a couple of times where I've seen it. Like, that has happened. And now they're making a more conscious effort of calling that. He was offsides. It is what it is. Go on. It's okay to lose 2 games in a row. So what? All right? Everybody has done it. Hell, Eagles just did it. Okay? Do I believe that referees can cost a game? Sure. Yes. Yes, they can. All right. But dude was offsides. That's it. He was offsides. It's nothing more to say about that. He was offsides. Had he not been offsides, we're not having this conversation. But I feel like if that was anybody else, okay, it would be blown straight up out of proportion. But it's because it is Patrick Mahomes, it's almost like, well, that's Patrick. That was wrong. Okay, that was wrong. That many teammates to be holding him back, what was he? Come on. No, no, no. You were wrong. All right. What he said at the press conference made no sense. Okay, it just made no sense. I wasn't feeling it. He was wrong. All right. Kansas City, they're slipping. They lost last week too. They're slipping. Is it the wide receiver? Is it the defense? I was looking at the defense yesterday. The defense is not the same. I mean, don't get me wrong. They played up to par, but they just look sloppy. I would just not sold. I'm not sold on them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sold on them. But who knows? Playoff Mahomes is different than regular season Mahomes, so we shall see. As for the 49ers, let's get back to them. Beating Seattle yesterday. True, Geno didn't play. But it was a pretty interesting game up until the fourth quarter, wouldn't you say? It was pretty interesting. Seattle, I don't know what's wrong, but I just feel that Seattle has lost its